had to do back-to-back videos, back-to-back videos and whatnot. Gentlemen, check this out. I just want to expound on a point I made, 1247. Of course, 1247 is a great one. Or another video back-to-back. And here's a question I gotta ask. I made mention in my last video about, shout out to, once again, RIP to Kevin Samuels for condolences to him and his family. But the point I made in the last video is the community calling you a homosexual because you have standards, you have a vision, you have purpose, you have parameters set up in your life. The community calling you a homosexual because you have standards. And the question I'm asking is, gentlemen, in what other community on planet Earth a man can have standards and be considered a homosexual? You have standards, and the community that you're supposed to be attached to considers you to be a homosexual? Gentlemen, what name another community in the world where a man has standards, a man has purpose, like the three things I tell you guys: a purpose, a SOP, standards of operations and procedures, and a vision. A man that has this in any other community on planet Earth is considered a homosexual. Name another community that does that. So you're a homosexual because you have standards. Which goes to show you that the community just wants you, here goes, like I've been telling you, gentlemen, the community just wants you to be a tool. I keep telling you, gentlemen, this. If the community is going to tell you you're a homosexual because you have standards, then gentlemen, only thing the so-called this matriarch community wants you to do is be a tool. You're supposed to be used. You're not supposed to have standards, and you're not supposed to have an SOP. You're not supposed to be operating and having plans and trying to develop a future and try to build this and do that. Gentlemen, you're not supposed to do that in the community, gentlemen. You're supposed to be used. This is why I keep telling you this so-called black community is ass backwards. I'm a homosexual. No disrespect to the so-called homosexual. Those of you men that practice homosexuality, that's your business. I'm not talking bad about your whatever you guys do. That's your business. I don't have anything to do with that. But I'm just talking for the heterosexual man to be in his masculine energy, to be masculine. Basically, for so-called African American man to be in his masculine frame is considered homosexuality in his so-called community. I'm just trying to figure out where else on planet Earth where a man who's operating in his masculinity a homosexual. That's the question I'm asking. In what community on planet Earth besides the so-called black community a man is homosexual because basically he's exuding, or he's in his masculine frame, operating in his masculinity? That man is considered homosexual. Huh, gentlemen? Just answer that question. Where on earth, where a man is supposed to be masculine, because everywhere else around you, every man is masculine. He's operating in his masculinity. Doesn't matter what community you point to. Doesn't matter what ethnicity, what race. It doesn't matter. All around you, men are in the masculine frame 24/7 a day. But you in the community, you got to be what? These female. I'll say it again. So everybody else could be masculine, but you got to be what? This female's what I say? You got to be this female's bitch all day. So you the so-called the communitized bitch, but every other man around you could be in their masculine frame. So these women respect these other men that's around you. They can be masculine all day, but you have to be somebody's bitch. So when Kevin Samuels was operating in his masculine energy, actually being forthright, having standards, because you know these women would try to get up on his show, try to overtalk, and he would say, "Hey, listen, he will bring the correction to these women." So a man correcting a woman in the community is how do one female said is toxic masculinity. Because I corrected you, that's toxic masculinity. And you operating in your masculinity is considered homosexual in the so-called black community. Is that what we're doing, gentlemen? Once again, no hate speech, not saying anything about the homosexual, the men that practice this, that's your business. I'm talking about for a heterosexual black American man operating in his masculinity like he's supposed to be, is considered homosexual in the community. So if I'm not supposed to be operating in my masculinity, then what am I supposed to be doing? This is what you gentlemen got to ask yourself. If you're not supposed to be operating in your masculinity, you're not supposed to have a standard, you're not supposed to have a SOP, standards of operation and procedure, you're not supposed to have a purpose, gentlemen, what are you supposed to be doing in a so-called community? What is your purpose in the community if you can't be masculine? And I'm not talking about that King Kong nonsense. I'm not talking about that Pookie and Ray Ray shoot him up. Oh, I'm gonna shoot this nigga in the face and all that. I ain't talking about that degenerate nonsense. I'm talking about men like Kevin Samuels, forthright, well-dressed, well-mannered, can speak a concise plan, who can speak directly to people, who led. Kevin Samuels was really he was a leader in a sense. I mean, this man has gotten attention of people basically all over the world. But nobody else called Kevin Samuels a homosexual, but so-called ABW in the community considered him to be a homosexual. I've never heard. I mean, I've seen many people break down his videos from other nations. I've never heard these other women from other nations ever call Kevin Samuel a homosexual. Ever. So yeah, gentlemen, that's the question I'm asking. How are you a homosexual when you operating in your masculinity? How does that work? You operate in your masculinity, you're considered a homosexual. A heterosexual man operating in masculinity is considered homosexual. How does that work? I need somebody to explain that to me. A heterosexual man operating in his masculinity, having standards, moving with purpose, led by his head, on his head, not by his penis. That type of man is considered a homosexual, and you don't get no pussy. A man who can critique men and women. That's what men are supposed to do. Men are supposed to critique. If females out here acting crazy, a man is supposed to critique the female that he's supposed to be joined to. But a man that does that is considered to be a homosexual? A man that has a standard, a man that has a purpose, a man that is operating in his own belief systems, a man that is moving forward and creating the reality that he wants to is considered, that's masculinity. That type of man is a homosexual in the black community. So, gentlemen, if you can't be masculine, who and what are you supposed to be to these women in the so-called community? Who and what are you supposed to be if you can't be masculine in the so-called community? Who and what are you supposed to be? Seriously. To these women in the community, if you can't be in your masculine frame, who and what are you supposed to be? That's the question I gotta ask. If you can't be masculine, if you can't go forth, you can't be a leader of men and women and children, you can't be a leader, you can't speak your piece, you can't critique these women, you can't get suggestions, you can't say nothing to these women, you supposed to sit there and be somebody's bitch? All day, every day, you supposed to just sit there, just like, I'm gonna say it again, just like the men before me and you. The 3 and 4 generations that's behind us, we supposed to be just like them. So your daddy ain't say nothing, your grandfather ain't say nothing, your great grandfather ain't say nothing. You supposed to just shut up and be somebody's bitch. So these women are not trying to bring back another Martin Luther King. You women don't want to bring back men who are leaders, not only of the community, basically all over the world. Because we all know back in the 60s, the brothers, the Black Panthers, I mean, there were so many different brothers that were leading in their so-called community. So you women ain't trying to have that again, right? So the only thing we are to these women, once again, is just we supposed to be used just like a tool, and we supposed to just be some bitch ass nigga. That's my lot in life, being a part of the community. I'm just a bitch ass nigga to the day I die. No, will forever be a bitch ass nigga to the day I die if I'm a part of the community. Come on, gentlemen. Move forward. Move forward. If you can't be masculine in the community, gentlemen, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. I'm talking about internet and real life, gentlemen. If you can't be in your masculine frame in the community, gentlemen, move your ass along. Move along. There's no point of the debating. There's no point of talking about it. There's no point of doing nothing in the so-called community. If these women if you can't speak your mind, you can't deliberate, you can't critique, you can't lead, you can't give suggestions. I mean, you can't do nothing. You don't have a voice in the community, gentlemen. What in God's name are you sticking around for? What in God's name are you sticking around for if you can't even be masculine in the so-called community? You're just gonna be somebody's bitch to be used and used and used, and you say nothing. You shut your ass up and you sit there like a good bitch and do whatever we say. I'm gonna ask this for the last time, gentlemen. Name another group of men in the world that can't be masculine. Name another group of men in the world, or any community or nation, ethnicity. Name another group of men that's acting in their masculine frame that's considered homosexual in his community. Now, go ahead, I'll be here all day. Type in the comments, name another group of men that's considered a homosexual because he's masculine. This is why I told you, gentlemen, the so-called community is ass backwards. Right, wrong is wrong, right, this is this, and left is up, and up is down, and this way is that way, gentlemen. When is masculinity homosexual? A heterosexual man acting masculine is what feminine women desire. But these masculine ass women in your community consider you to be a homosexual because you are a masculine, because you're acting in your masculinity. And you gentlemen are going to create the utopia. Anyways, you got it. Knock yourself out. Be somebody's bitch if you want to be. That's not going to be me. But gentlemen, that's all I got to say, man. Gentlemen, once again, like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy yourself. And listen, you're going to either be masculine and create your own reality, or you're going to be somebody's bitch in the community. That's the only two choices that you really have. Like, share, and subscribe. Peace.